Hi, Professor Moore, and I just wanted to make a quick video and kind of go over what developmental psychology is, what you'll be studying this whole semester. Well, developmental psychology, or you'll also see it listed as lifespan development, is the study of us, of humans, and it takes us from inception to birth to being a baby and being a toddler and then going to like elementary school and then our adolescent years and early adulthood, middle adulthood, late adulthood, all the way to death, and looking at these different stages of our life through the lens of a psychologist, right? So what are the cognitive changes that you're seeing? What can a 2-year-old understand that maybe a 1-year-old can't? What can a 17-year-old understand that maybe a 10-year-old can't, right? And as you've kind of aged, as you're this little human, depending on how old you are, you kind of know that you think a little bit different than you did 5, 10, 15 years ago. We also look at the physical maturation of humans, right? Our heads get smaller in proportion to our bodies as we age. Our eyes, right? So if you notice, and this is kind of silly, we'll talk about this a little bit when we like the adolescent and early adulthood. If you notice when people take pictures, they make their eyes really big, and what they do is they usually, if you're going to take a selfie, right? So what they'll do is they make their eyes big and they're kind of tilt their head up, right? What they're doing is they're mimicking youth, right? So babies proportionally have really big eyes, and as we age, our eyes kind of settle into our face. So right, physically, and you might have been born with jet black hair, and you might have jet black hair now, and then when you're in your 80s, though, you might have gray hair or silver hair. Right? So, but maybe you were born with brown eyes and you still have brown eyes, and you're probably dying with brown eyes, right? So there are some parts that hold constant throughout our life, and there's some things that change throughout our life too, right? So we look at us through the lifespan, our whole development. We look at it through the lens of a psychologist, cognitively, right? So how do we understand our world? How do we interact with our world? We also look at it physically, and then the last we look at it is socially, right? Our interactions. Humans are very social beings. I know some people need other people less than other people do, and some people need other human interactions a lot more. But we all are social beings. What does that look like? What does a well-adjusted social 2-year-old look like versus a well-adjusted social 55-year-old person look like, right? We will be talking a little bit about the disorders that may afflict different age groups. We'll talk about death rates, teratogens, and teratogen is just a fancy word for like bad things that could happen in utero to the fetus, right? We'll talk about a lot of different things, but again, the focus is that lifespan. How do we change and how do we stay the same throughout our entire life? We will be using the entire textbook, so all the chapters. We'll also be writing papers. You'll be doing discussion questions and video reflections, and all of that is in your like your computer software that we use for the college here. But and I have other videos for that. But try to keep up. So successful students, like I said, this is a pretty intensive writing course. Try to stay at least a day or two ahead. That way if something does come up, you don't fall behind, but you kind of just fall even, if you will. Of course, I don't take any late work, so try to get yourself a little bit of that buffer. But developmental psychology is one of my favorite classes to teach. I love it. As I get older, I'm starting to realize, oh yeah, that's true, and I hope that you find similarities throughout the course, and I hope that you also you see some differences. Maybe you didn't go through that phase, or maybe you didn't see that happen with your child or your niece or your mother. But obviously reach out to me if you have any questions or comments, but let's have a great semester.